Watching Yannick Sinner bottle 3 championship points and a 2-1 set lead to Carlos Alcaraz at the French Open got me thinking, who are the biggest bottlers in Premier League history? Obviously, it's not that straightforward to quantify bottlers by stats alone, but we all know a bottler when we see one. At number 10, Andrei Shevchenko. Let's talk about the guy who was supposed to be the final piece for Chelsea's Champions League ambitions. He's a Ballon d'Or winner, AC Milan legend, a national hero in Ukraine, and one of the biggest letdowns the Premier League has ever seen. He had almost everything you want in a world-class striker: lethal finishing, pace, aerial ability, and even playmaking skills. At Milan, he averaged 20 goals a season, 0.54 goals per game, and was still solid in the Champions League. At Chelsea, his goal rate nosedived to 0.29 per game. He managed 22 goals in 77 games for Chelsea in all competitions. In the Premier League, scored just 9 goals, no goals against the Big Six. Even at Milan, when it mattered most, he couldn't deliver against Liverpool in Istanbul, missed huge chances extra time, and fluffed the decisive penalty. In the Champions League, he went from top scorer at Milan to just 4 goals in 15 appearances for Chelsea, and never found the net in the knockout rounds. When Chelsea needed him most, semi-finals, crunch time, he was either invisible or conveniently injured. Missed the 2007 FA Cup final, missed the 2008 League Cup final. Even when he was fit, he was better off on the bench. So yeah, Shevchenko, one of the greatest strikers ever, just not in England. At number 9, Abou Diaby, or as Arsenal fans came to know him, the Glass Man. He was supposed to be the next Patrick Vieira, a 6'4" midfield general with pace, power and vision. He had all the tools to dominate the Premier League, besides from health, and that's the irony. In 2006, Arsenal up 3-0 with nothing to play for, until Sunderland's Dan Smith shattered his ankle, and as well as his career. That one moment cost him a Champions League final appearance, and from then on, it was all downhill. He spent more time in the treatment room than on the pitch, over 2,100 days out injured, missed more than 300 games, and racked up at least 42 different injuries. That's not a typo, by the way. He averaged a setback every 80 days. He spent 9 years at Arsenal, 180 appearances, averaging just 20 games a season. 2/3 of his time at Arsenal, he was on the bench or in the rehab room. You can't even call Diaby a bottler in big games because he was never available for them. The only thing you could count on was that he'd be unavailable when Arsenal needed him most. He's the only player on this list who didn't bottle under pressure because he just never made it to the pitch. That's why Abou Diaby is one of the biggest what-ifs in the Premier League and a lock for this list. At number 8, Kolo Touré. Kolo Touré's got one of the weirdest resumes in the Premier League. He's won multiple championships and was even part of Arsenal's Invincibles. But when you actually need him most, he's not the guy you want leading your back line, particularly with Liverpool. Like the infamous West Brom blunder in 2014, amidst a very close title race with Man City, Kolo Touré received a pass from goalkeeper Mignolet and, under little pressure, passes the ball to Victor Nikabe. The game ends 1-1. 2 crucial points dropped, and he followed that up by scoring an own goal against Fulham in the same month. That's back-to-back bottles. Of course, there's some people out there who will say that every team Kolo joined got better, like Arsenal's Invincibles, City's first title in 44 years, and Liverpool going from 7th to 2nd. But let's not kid ourselves. At City, Kolo was basically a mascot by the time they lifted the trophy because he spent half the season on a drug ban and watched Company and Lescott do all the heavy lifting. At Liverpool, he was trusted to play real minutes and also largely responsible for Liverpool leading the league in defensive errors leading to goals that season. Was Kolo Touré a solid defender? Sure. Was he a winner? Not for the most part. But when it comes to the Premier League's biggest bottlers, you can't leave out a guy who was almost a non-factor in City's triumph and a major reason Liverpool's 2013-14 title challenge was missed by 2 points. He wasn't the only Liverpool player to bottle that season. At number 7, David Ginola. He brought continental flair, entertainment and shampoo commercial hair to the Premier League. But when it came to crunch time, David Ginola could not be counted. In the 1995-96 season, Newcastle up 12 points in February at the top of the table with Ginola, the central figure, in their attack. But as the pressure mounted, Ginola's performances also dipped. Their defense were leaking goals, mostly due to the loss of possession leading to counter-attacks, lost 4-3 away at Anfield, lost 1-0 to United, Chelsea, and allowed Manchester United to snatch the title. With Spurs in the late 90s, he still won the PFA award, but couldn't drag Tottenham up for a consistent title challenge or top 4 finish, despite the talent around him. David Ginola was all style but not enough substance. when the stakes were highest. At number 6, Fernando Torres. Probably one of the biggest drop-offs in Premier League history. Was a superstar in Liverpool despite never delivering the championship, 0.64 goals per game. But then came the blockbuster move to Chelsea, which ended his career in the Premier League. His goals per game plummeted to 0.18 per game. In 110 Premier League appearances for Chelsea, managed just 20 goals, or less than half a goal every 2 games. Not once did he score more than 8 league goals in a season for Chelsea. He did look better in Europe, where the games were more open, but in the Premier League, he was anonymous, especially in the big matches. He missed 32 big chances in the league. Now sure, some people tell you it was all the system's fault, or a knee injury sustained in his final season with Liverpool. Those aren't unique excuses to Fernando Torres. That's just part of the game, especially when you consider that Drogba and Costa were pouring in goals for Chelsea in the same setup. Torres, on the other hand, was missing sitters. In fact, 32 big chances he missed in the Premier League. That's not a tactical misfit. That's a striker who couldn't handle the pressure when the lights were brightest. Yeah, he had the goal against Barcelona in the Champions League, but Chelsea would have gone through without it. He wasn't as physical or direct as Drogba or Costa, who could bully defenders and make things happen out of nothing. Torres didn't have the same impact without the perfect service. And it wasn't just his lack of goals, he added 3 Premier League red cards to his resume with Chelsea. Never got sent off with Liverpool. At number 5, William Gallas. If you want to know how not to capture a title chasing team, this is your guy. At Chelsea, he was part of a rock solid defence that won back-to-back Premier Leagues. Just before he left for Arsenal in 2006, he was accused by Chelsea of threatening to score own goals if he wasn't allowed to leave. That's right, this man was allegedly ready to tank his own team's chances just to get out. Fast forward to his captaincy with Arsenal for 1 year, and he became the king of calling out his teammates publicly. He questioned their bravery, roasted their inexperience, and aired internal disputes in interviews. When Arsene Wenger and the team finally had enough in November 2008, he was relieved of his captaincy and benched for a pivotal game against Man City, which they lost 3-0. But nothing sums up Gallas being a butler more than the Birmingham City game in February 2008, after Arsenal conceded a late penalty to tie the game 2-2 at full time. Gallas kicked down advertising boards and sat in the centre circle like a kid who had just lost his ice cream. Obviously, this angered many, including Gilberto Silva, who traded blows with Gallas. Following the game, the team's form nosedived and Arsenal blew a 6-point lead to Manchester United, drawing 3 and winning just 1 in 8 games. Gallas tried to force Chelsea's winning culture to Arsenal, but his approach was all wrong. Too intense, too emotional, and it created rifts in the dressing room. He wasn't the leader Arsenal needed when the pressure was on. Instead of holding leads, he was holding grudges. And instead of lifting his teammates, he was dragging them down, and he never delivered a Premier League for Arsenal, despite his pedigree. At number 4, Raheem Sterling, the most successful butler on this list. 4 Premier Leagues, over 100 goals, plus talent and speed. But when the lights are brightest, Sterling barely has a resume. Across his Premier League career, Sterling has missed a staggering 117 big chances. In 2019-20, he missed 17. In 2020-21, another 14. And even in his declining years at Chelsea, he still managed to rack up 7 and 10 big misses in 2020-23 and 2023-24 respectively. His European record on paper looks impressive. 24 goals in 67 Champions League appearances for City. But in the knockout stages, Sterling's finishing turns into comedy. Against Lyon in 2020, City were down 2-1. Sterling receives an open goal from 6 yards in the 86th minute and skies it to eliminate his team. In the 2021 final against Chelsea, Sterling gets multiple looks and never scored. City lose 1-0. 2 huge moments, 0 clutch performances. Then there's his penalty record. He's missed 6 out of 10 in his career, including 4 in the Premier League. That's a 40% success rate. Like the 2024 FA Cup semi-final for Chelsea, where he missed a penalty and allowed Leicester to come back into the game. He's the ultimate what-if player. He's got the speed, skill and stats to be a legend. But when the pressure's on, he's more likely to disappear than deliver. Not someone you want changing the narrative in a big moment. At number 3, Mesut Özil. He was the ultimate luxury number 10. Exceptional vision, produced some of the best passing we've ever seen, and had the ability to unlock defenses, except when it came to a situation when Arsenal needed him most. In the 2015-16 season, he dished out 19 assists, almost tying Thierry Henry's Premier League record, and for a while was creating more chances than any other player in the league. But the numbers against the Big Six tells a different story. In 47 league appearances against the Big Six, Özil managed just 6 goals and 9 assists, or 0.32 goal involvements per game, a significant drop-off from his 0.49 average across the competition. In the Champions League, it was the same script. 7 goals and 6 assists in 28 appearances. Solid, sure, but dig deeper and you'll see most of that production came in the group stages. When it was time to step up against Bayern Munich or Barcelona, Özil was a ghost and never took Arsenal past the round of 16. And it wasn't just about the numbers. He was 9th for distance run per 90 and 10th for sprints per 90 among Arsenal players in his best seasons. Hardly the kind of work rate you want from your star man, especially in the day and age of pressing and tracking back. That lack of intensity, combined with his defensive vulnerabilities, eventually led to his exile from the team. For some reason, he's still adored by Arsenal fans down to this day, perhaps because he won 4 FA Cups, but Özil's inability to deliver when it mattered most in the Premier League or in the Champions League and against elite opposition is what justifies his place in this list. At number 2, Harry Kane. He's got the numbers, the stats and golden boots. At Spurs, he was surrounded by title-winning talent. He and Heung-min Son formed one of the most productive duos of all time. He had a solid defensive core with Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen, and yet in 2015-16 allowed Leicester City to win the league by 11 points and Arsenal to finish above them. In big games, Kane's got a solid record against the Big Six, although a lot of those goals derive from penalties, and he did have his struggles against Chelsea and Man City. But the real reason Kane is so high on this list is of course the lack of silverware. 3 finals with Tottenham, League Cup loss to Chelsea 2015, Man City in 2021, and a Champions League final defeat to Liverpool in 2019. In that Champions League final, he was anonymous and should probably have been benched for Lucas Moura, who scored a hat-trick in the semi. He's got the talent, stats and respect because everyone feels sorry for star players who have played for Tottenham. When it comes to delivering in big moments that define the greats of all time, Kane has been missing. And of course, at number 1, Steven Gerrard, the biggest bottler in Premier League history. Statistically, he's the prototype of a box-to-box midfielder. Over 500 league appearances for Liverpool, 120 goals, 92 assists, a career high 16 goals in a single season, 598 tackles won, 356 interceptions, and 1,271 duels won. Gerrard's numbers scream longevity and versatility. He was Liverpool's engine for nearly 2 decades, but it was a Premier League trophy that eluded him, and not for lack of chances. Liverpool finished runners-up 3 times during his career, most notably in 2013-14 when they were clear favourites late in the season. It was April 2014 at home to Chelsea where Gerrard slipped, allowing Demba Ba to score and eliminate Liverpool from their title dreams in a career-defining way. Gerrard also holds the record for most red cards by a Liverpool player, 7 in total, which alone explains all you need to know about him being a consistent liability in big games, like his stamp on Ander Herrera in 2015, 38 seconds after coming on as a sub against Manchester United. He has all the individual accolades, including the Champions League, which paints a different picture of Gerrard, especially for Liverpool fans. But when it came to the league, Gerrard could never get Liverpool over the hump. Perhaps a stronger defense would have changed his fate, or jumping ship like other one club legends did. It's not like he wasn't great, but because he was so close so many times and never got it done, he has a legacy that's marked more by what it could have been, which is why he's number 1 on this list.